Here's why you should add flashcards to your teaching routine. I'm Stephanie, and I support educators to improve reading outcomes by learning about and implementing the science of reading. Flashcards have gotten sort of a bad rep in recent years. I understand that educators are moving away from simply teaching students to recognize irregular high-frequency words through the use of flashcard drills alone. And this has caused some educators to overgeneralize and think that they can never use flashcards ever in their instruction. So what I'd like to do is give you a way of using an evidence-based routine that involves flashcards, but also leans into the science of learning and the science of reading. We know that we need students to do things like recognize words in print effortlessly and automatically. So we want them to be able to do it not just accurately, but also fluently. And practice plays this really important role in being that conduit between accuracy and mastery. It's only when students can recognize words instantly without any conscious thought that the brain power can be freed up to focus on the meaning of what students are reading in text. So one effort towards that ultimate goal of reading comprehension is to make sure that students can decode effortlessly and instantly. So practice can be very important for getting students all the way to automaticity and mastery. And one way to provide students with additional practice is with flashcards. So I'm going to share a little bit of information about a routine called folding in. It's an idea that can be used with lots of different skills. I'm going to demonstrate with learning how to read words, so words in isolation, learning how to decode, a support that would follow instruction in phonics and spelling. But you can use this same routine for letter names, for individual letter sounds. You can use it for math facts. You can use folding in for learning state capitals. Any skill that has a correct single answer and something that you want students to not just be accurate with, but also to be fluent and automatic. So in this routine, you would put individual words on flashcards. So I've just used index cards. You can do this electronically if you want to. You would have a list of 10 words that students have been taught. So they know the individual letter sounds. In your phonics and spelling instruction, you have actually seen them read the words accurately, but they are perhaps not yet fluent and automatic in reading these words. So it's a very careful distinction that I'm making here. You've already taught them the individual letter sounds in each of these words. You have taught them to read these words. They have read them in lessons with you. They have been accurate at reading these words. But some of the words they're reading effortlessly, and I mean within 2 or 3 seconds, and others they're not. So what I would do is put a check mark on the back of the words that the student was able to read effortlessly. So let's say within 2 seconds. So a word like on, if they were able to read it during the lesson instantly and fluently, I would put a check mark on the back of those words. And I would have other words that I would put a minus sign on the back of these other cards. So perhaps a word like pin, the student could read it, but maybe they needed scaffolds of like sounding it out first, or they maybe need to think about it while they were looking at it. And so in that case, I'm going to put a minus sign on the back of that type of word. And in the folding in technique, you would have just about 10 items that you're working with at any time. And one of the things that makes this routine useful is that you are interleaving or interspersing the words that they're not automatic with into the list of words that they are already accurate and automatic with. So I have a stack of 3 words, not more than 3, that the student is not yet automatic or fluent with, and I have 7 words in the other stack that they can read instantly. And so I'm going to create my deck for the flashcard practice with the student by having those known words, the effortless words, appear as word 1 and 2 in the list of cards, and I'm going to have the words that the student is not yet effortless with positioned at number 3 in the list. Then I'm going to have 4 and 5 be words that are already automatic. And I'm going to have number 6 be one that is not yet automatic. Number 7 is one that's automatic. 8 is one that's not yet automatic. And then 9 and 10 are going to be words that are already automatic, the ones with the check marks on the back. So positions 3, 6, and 8 within the stack of 10 flashcards. And then I'm going to work with the student to go through this list of 10 words. This is something that you can train older students to do. So if you have like a cross-age peer tutoring program, if you have high school volunteers coming down to the elementary school, if you have community volunteers or parents, this is something you can definitely train them to deliver. So I would hold up the first card and ask, what word is this? And if the student reads it correctly and they say on, I would say, yes, on. And I would move that card into the right-hand side of the table in front of me where I'm putting the automatic words, okay? And then I would hold up the next card and ask, what word is this? And if the student says it, I would say, yes, it. And I would put it also in the right-hand side stack in front of me. And then I would hold up the next card. And if the student says pin, I would say, yes, pin. And I would put that one into that known word pile, read it instantly. But let's say I get to the next word and I say, what word is it? And the student says pat. So they read it incorrectly. I would say, no, the word is pot. Say pot. The student would repeat the word. And then this card goes into the stack on the left-hand side in front of me, into the error pile, or the pile where the student wasn't able to read it within 3 seconds. I would hold up the next word. What word is this? The student says at. It would go into that stack on the right-hand side of me, into that known word pile. And then let's say I hold up the next card. What word is this? And the student has to think about it. And you can see their lips moving, and you can sort of hear them mouthing the sounds. And they eventually come out with, but 3 seconds have already gone by. So now I'm going to say, the word is mat. Say it. And the student would repeat the word mat. And then I would put that into that unknown word pile. So it would go on to the left-hand side stack in front of me. And I would continue through the rest of the words, sorting them into those 2 categories of known instantly and not known or read instantly. Then I'm going to pick up the stack of cards that are on the right-hand side on the table in front of me. And then I'm going to put a check mark on the back of each of these cards. So now this card has 2 check marks on the back of it. So 2 days in a row, the student instantly read this word. Same with this one. And for every card that's in this known stack, I'm going to put a check mark on the back. And maybe I put today's date next to it so that I'm really organized. And then in the stack of cards that are in the left-hand side to indicate they did not read this word correctly and automatically, I'm going to put that minus sign on the back. And so this is an interesting example. The student got it the previous day, but didn't get it today. Now here's one that the student hasn't gotten 2 days in a row. Okay. I'm going to go through and put the minus sign on the back of each of these words because they did not get them instantly today. Then I'm going to take my 2 sets of words and I'm going to shuffle them up. I'm going to mix them up again. And I'm going to go through this list of words again with the student, with the same kinds of wording and the same kind of procedure. What word is this? The student says in, and I say, yes, in. Put it into the known word pile. If they make an error, I'm going to say, no, the word is on. Say on, something like that, to get them to speak it. It's important for me to give that feedback that says the correct word, but they also get a chance to look at it and say the correct word. And then I'm going to take that stack and I'm going to shuffle them up again. And I'm going to go through this procedure 3rd time. So that's the folding in strategy for going through using a flashcard routine for practice that moves students from accurate to automatic and fluent. Once a student has 3 check marks on the back of a card, that card gets removed and I can bring in a new card for the student to work with. So I'm always using that balance of 3 unknowns, so to speak, that need to be practiced to automaticity, and 7 known words or ones that the student is already fluent with. So hopefully this is a routine that you can consider integrating into your instructional procedures. It's something that I have provided support to members of my Reading Science Academy around. There's actually a step-by-step procedure for doing this that is one of the cheat sheets in the Reading Science Academy, and people who have used this technique for a variety of different skills talk about using it within our private Facebook group. So I want to invite you, if you're interested in having that kind of support for the work that you're doing to promote practice for your students, I hope you'll consider joining us in the Reading Science Academy.